Welcome everybody to round 7 of the CALLOUS Invitational 5 main event. There are only 6 players left in the event. This is lower bracket only, and there's only 4 players left in that spot. Now I have dubbed this the Revenge Round. That's because, just by coincidence, there is a 1 in 3 chance of this happening when we have only 4 players in this bracket. But as it happens, both the pairings this round are repeats from earlier in the tournament. In fact, they're both repeats from round 4 of the tournament. So we're going to have Hclat here today against Johnnyg2. Hclat, of course, won that the first time. And then in the other pairing that is yet to happen, we're going to have Altina against Starmaster, which was also a round 4 pairing that Starmaster came out on top of. But now, unlike in those matches when they were still in the upper bracket, now everybody's in the lower bracket. So instead of just playing to be knocked down to the lower bracket, they are playing for their tournament lives. Whoever loses here, regardless of what happened before, will face elimination. Now, a note here for both players. It's been a pretty ridiculous tour, quite frankly. But so 5 of the 6 players left are American, which is wild. We have the possibility of an All-American top 4 or an All-American top 3, depending on how far Altina ends up going. Another note is that Hclat has been this far. I think this is his 3rd time being this deep in the tour. And, he's been so close to the money all these times, but just hasn't cracked through. Johnnyg2, on the other hand, he's a first-time player. This was a great year for first-timers. Endel had a great run. Mickmer had a great run. Tricking looked good. Even Umbri, she went out 1-2, but, we all know how good she is. She looked solid and just had really tough opponents. It really was a great year for first-time players, but Johnnyg2 is the final first-timer still standing. He's got a guaranteed top 6 finish no matter what, even should he go out this round. And he could still make money or win the tour. So no matter what, it's a really impressive debut from him. So like I said, this is the first set. The other one hasn't played yet in the Revenge Round. Johnny trying to get revenge against Hclat for beating him earlier and knock him out of the tour. Hclat obviously trying to beat Johnny for a second time, a player that he knows that he can beat since he already has, and get one match away from that guaranteed money that's been so close but so far for him in multiple previous attempts in this tour. Let's go. Still in the best of 3 stages, and we have Zapdos on Zapdos with Clat on the bottom and Johnny on the top, and we've got a Smeargle coming in here, eating a Thunderbolt as it does. Now Spore on Magneton, Zapdos coming in to get Will-O-Wisp, so double status Smeargle here. And not super commonly, the Smeargle is actually faster than the Zapdos. He must have calced based on the amount of damage he took from Thunderbolt that it was a bulky Zapdos, and he therefore knew that he could be faster and get the spikes down. So Johnny gets 2 statuses down and spikes, but he loses a poke to do so. Reasonable trade. Smeargle teams like this are almost always very aggressive, and I would expect that kind of thing. Maybe Arrow in the back, or DD Mence or some kind of Mence, Gyra, whatever. Just aggressive pokes in the back for Johnny. And that crit obviously relevant there. I don't understand the Claydol switch. He couldn't have gotten a rapid spin off. He could have just Earthquaked for the kill, but if you know Double Edge is coming and it feels like Double Edge was the obvious play there for Johnny, I don't get why you don't go to Magneton and let that take it and then kill itself on the recoil, which the Magneton would survive and still be sleep fodder. So I don't get that, but either way, the crit did matter even if I don't agree with the decision that Hclat made, and that leaves us in a pretty quick 4-4 in what is an aggressive game here. Blissy's faster than Swampert. There's Aromatherapy. Earthquake 39%, not too bad. Pert gaining lefties. But it's looking like some kind of off-pert as he focus punches here. 70%. That's going to actually kill the Bliss when combined with the Sand. That's really relevant. So now Hclat has brought what seems to be an all-in on Lax. Like, really all-in on Lax. It's a Magdoll, but usually Magdoll at least has things like Mence or Coon or Meta or whatever that can be alternative win conditions. That does not seem to be the case here. The only thing remotely resembling a win condition that Clat has shown is this Lax. So here he is trying to get that set up, and he's trying to do so against something that is showing Focus Punch. So Johnny just needs to find a crit, and Hclat's day is quite ruined here. And Hclat doesn't seem to have much of a choice at this point but to play for it and hope the crit doesn't come. Lax down to 11%. Crit might not even be necessary. Earthquake might even be good enough, and it is. That may or may not have been a roll, but Hclat packs it up pretty quickly. This one in under 20 turns, a one-sided affair for Johnnyg2. Well on his way to getting his revenge against Hclat. Hclat will have to rattle off 2 in a row, or he will once again, all too familiar, be so close and yet so far from that cash money. Can he rattle off 2 in a row, or will first-timer Johnnyg2 secure a guaranteed top 4 or better finish, which is so good for a debut? Can he do it? Let's find out. Here's game 2. Switch the sides for continuity. Hclat on the bottom, Johnny on top, Mence on Hariyama. When I see Hariyama, I immediately think stall team. Could be on the balance side, but highly, highly unlikely that it's anything remotely offensive. Gotta be some kind of defensive sturdy team, I would think, for Johnny. He shows Scarm, gets a spike down, he gets hit with a hidden power fire, and protect for lefties. Now he goes to Starmie, and that comes in on Psychic, 23%. Lot of switching for Johnny, perhaps thinking that there might be a boom there, having his own meta take it, but that's not what occurs. So we are looking at some kind of mixed or balanced offense for Hclat, and as I said, some kind of stally or like balanced stally team for Johnny. +1 Surf there does a lot, 52% before the Coon gets roared out. Coon reappears, and there is Blissey. Calm Mind, and S-Toss doing 25%, so bulky Coon as one would think. Calm Mind again, and S-Toss again. Of note, no sand in play here, so Coon, Bliss, what have you, Lax, extra bulky in this situation. Here's the Hari switch, and that's going to be really nerve-wracking for Hclat. Knock off a real threat here. Hariyama also learns Whirlwind, it could get rid of it. He could also crit him with a cross chop. I agree with Hclat getting out of the way. That's a scary situation for the Coon to stay in, and indeed it was knockoff, which would have been quite crippling had the Coon lost its lefties. Ment shows itself to be mixed with that Dragon Claw. Over prediction Will-O-Wisp there for Johnny. Now meta, and Will-O-Wisp again. So the first Will-O-Wisp didn't seem amazing, but the second one was a good play. He'll burn the opposing meta. Ooh, out of the way he goes. And that is a relevant critical hit for Hclat. Normally pursuit from meta, non-stab pursuit, non-physical pursuit from meta is not that exciting. Usually the Gar can live it at least once, if not twice, on switching out because the damage is underwhelming. But in this case, a relevant critical hit kicks in, and that's going to take the Gar out, and that's going to give Hclat a little bit of an edge here, though he is still dealing with 2 layers of spikes. Well, speak of the devil, there's a rapid spinner, and there sure as hell isn't going to be a ghost to block it. Full team revealed for Johnny, and the ghost is dead. This rapid spin is inevitable, and the only punishment that Johnny has is an underwhelming drill peck. Gotta think that Hclat is considerably ahead now that we know that the doll is there. And I'm not surprised that it's there. It's very often paired with Coon, and it's the kind of thing that fits very well on the kind of team that Hclat is playing. A balanced, multiple booms kind of offense. You boom down to Coon, get it done. It just fits. But yeah, Johnny, even if he did know that it was there, couldn't really have done much at that point to play around it. The matchup does not seem great for Johnny. The Gar is dead, which was unlucky. And then also the Scarm for Johnny does not seem to have Toxic, which would have been his best line of defense to do something against the doll. But he got stuck just drill pecking it, which, man, like I said, that is underwhelming. We don't even have sand in play. It seems rough. It seems like a hard matchup for sure. Johnny can always, cross-chop crit BS his way back in. Critical hits can bail you out of a lot of things. Likewise, here's Ice Beam. Maybe a timely freeze or two can also bail him out, but pending something like that, it's just not going well. And there's Hclat getting luck with a critical hit serve. Follow-up serve kills Hari. Johnny not ready to concede, but looking like another one-sided game. Johnny won the first one pretty convincingly, not super close. And this one looks all Hclat. Not seeing a great comeback for Johnny. Don't know what the win condition would be at this point. Does he have Agila meta? Meta's shown only mash, so we don't know. Maybe if he's got like Agila meta and he agilities and then instantly gets attack raises with mash, maybe you can just kind of go off from there. But pending something like that, and even that I don't know if it's enough, but pending something like that, I don't know, man. Well, the clock is pretty thin, since one more surf will do it. Back to meta. Good prediction for Johnny. Clicks Earthquake there. That was the right play. But it looks like the faster meta belongs to Clat. Protect is a good play here, and it's going to leave Hclat with a 1% burnt meta. The problem, of course, being that Johnny, we now know, does not have Agila meta, so I have no clue how he actually wins this game now. I also don't think I like Starmie taking the boom. I don't hate it either, but he's so far behind that I think he might have considered 50-50 protecting there, because he just needs to win coin flips. He just needs things like that to happen in order to actually come back in this game. Yeah, I guess the Skarm at 35 couldn't have taken it, so I would have coin flipped the protect there, I think, as opposed to let Starmie eat it. But I mean, this obviously isn't bad if he just comes in and clicks recover here, but I mean, the bigger issue is like, in doing so, the Coon is just sitting there setting up. What are you going to do about the Coon? I think the answer is not much. I mean, I think he needs an incredible string of full para, or he needs the Blissey to freeze it. Something along those lines. That's boost number 5 that we're looking at here. I mean, on paper, I mean, the Coon is just a huge issue to begin with for Johnny's team. How do you beat that? Maybe the Gar had, like, Destiny Bond, or you're just trying to get there with Thunderbolts, which is not super reliable from Gar. You can boom on it with meta, but again, that's not super reliable. What if you end up booming on literally anything other than Coon? Now how do you beat the Coon? I don't know. Seems like a hard poke. Johnny's team seems very Suicune weak. Certainly the luck that Hclat has gotten in this game does not help Johnny's case, and this Rachi as the last poke for Clat seems quite difficult for Johnny. Not that Hclat really needed more help, but I think the Hclat Rachi and the Hclat Coon are both things that Johnny really can't deal with at this stage of the game. It's that oh so common Combine sub sweeper set that we've seen a lot of in this tour. It's got 404 HP, therefore it's got 101 HP subs. That's why the S-Toss is doing exactly 100, aren't breaking it. This matchup has been tested many times, and the consensus is, by quite a good margin, the vast majority of the time, the Jirachi wins the matchup against the Blissey here. Now granted, there is no sand in play right now, so that definitely helps Blissey's case in this specific matchup, but I think even without the sand, Rachi's got a decent shot. With the sand, it's heavily favored. That's well established, but even without the sand, I think Rachi has a good shot to win here. Well, Rachi's got the 5 boosts and is about to go for boost number 6. No, I lied. Just going for Thunder. Finds immediate para. Blissey in danger now to where she could potentially just die to another Thunder. Out of the way. And it's a sub on the switch, which is devastating. That's obviously really good for Hclat. Surf doesn't do it. And there is the final Combine boost. Jirachi completely set up at this point. Behind a sub, max boosted, boom. Ice Punch kill. Now it's a 3-5. Blissey again going to try her luck. Thunder 54%, and Soft Boiled, sure. So fishing for misses here, but far more likely is that a crit or a para eventually comes down. A freeze also possible here. There's Thunder. 57% and the para, but she gets soft-boiled off anyway. And there's the concession. That is going to send us to a third game. One game takes all. Man, I wish either of these had been a little closer, but game 1, all Johnny. Game 2, all Hclat. Kind of one-sided affairs, if we're being honest. Like I said, I kind of wish they were closer, but sometimes this is the way that it goes. It sends us to a third game to decide the series. Will Hclat get one match away from the money for the second time in this tour? Or will Johnnyg, the first-timer, get his revenge and make an even more impressive debut in CALLOUS Invitational with a guaranteed top 4 or better finish? That is all determined by the outcome of this next game. Let's get it. Third and final time. Hclat on the bottom, Johnny on the top. Tar on Tar, becomes Tar on Fori, becomes Tar on, Fori on Skarm. Spikes and spikes. Spikes and spikes. Spikes and spikes. No! Hidden power, not fire. Hidden power ghost, it looks like. Trying to catch a possible Gengar on the way in, which is, of course, not what happens. Now spikes, so 3 layers beneath Hclat's team, and there is an actual Gengar, but this time Hclat also goes for spikes. So both players with all 3 layers. Will-O-Wisp is not what he's looking for there. He does get him with HP Ghost, but only 22% after being burnt, so that's got to be good for Johnny. Has the balls here to go to Skarm, which, if Hclat had the balls to spin, it would have been devastating, but it's a hard play to make. He went HP Ghost again, and now here's Johnny trying to milk the burn by getting a Protect off, so Fori getting whittled down slowly but surely. Here's Gar again, as the third HP Ghost in a row comes down. Again, the underwhelming 22%, but Fori gains lefties through sand, and Gengar doesn't. Thunderbolt, the best thing he's got, 26% is not that exciting. And now a critical hit HP Ghost, which certainly matters for Hclat. So Fori winning the 1v1 right now despite the presence of the burn. And in fact, something that very rarely happens, we have the Fori actually killing the Gengar here. However, that's going to leave the Fori for dead when it comes in on its own spikes or burn, even if Hclat had another spinner in the back, which seems exceedingly unlikely, but hypothetically, if he did, the Fori would still die to the burn, so it is effectively a trade. We're effectively looking at a 5-5 right now, with the caveat that Hclat has the Fori fodder for later, which could be relevant if this devolves into a stally, toxic fest kind of game. Interesting that he goes Rock Slide there, not afraid of anything that the Skarm can do. The fodder now gone, as Fori is the unlucky recipient of the roar, so that's going to die to the spikes. Leaves us in a 5-5 with 2 unrevealeds on both sides. Not sure that Johnny's going to have a spinner at all, so he might be stuck dealing with those spikes. Pert comes in on Thunderbolt, which is what we're looking for, but man, HP Grass there or here would devastate him. He protects, and Hclat shows that he has it. I don't see any reason to click HP Ice there. I don't think that's a bluff. I think it is actually HP Grass, and that is confirmed here as the opposing Zapdos comes in. Would have been pretty crazy had that been super effective, but nope, it is just boring old HP Grass. And Sleep Talk whiffing for Johnnyg, finding the irrelevant rest. There's T-Bolt, and Johnny seems to have a little problem here. What's your plan against Zapdos exactly? To give up your own Zapdos? Johnny's team actually seems really Zapdos weak. What even switches into a T-Bolt HP Grass Zapdos at full health? It threatens every single Mon that Johnny has shown. I was thinking there'd be like a last poke Rachi or Blissey, which it often is on this kind of team, which would have been the Zapdos switch, but seems to be no such Mon for Johnny, and that could really spell doom. I mean, man, what a way to go out that would be for Johnny, but I mean, has he loaded up a team that just has a horrendously glaring flaw that just cannot deal with the second most common poke and arguably the best lead in the entire gen? Kind of looking that way. Is this just a team-building failure, or is he just matchup fishing? There's Hidden Power Grass. I can't believe what I'm watching. I can't believe it's happening like this. I mean, Zapdos is just such a common thing that every ADV team in the world must cover, but Johnny just doesn't have an answer. He crits the thing with Crunch, or it would have continued to terrorize him. But man, even after that, the damage has very much been done. Johnny down to 2 pokes pretty quickly here. And like I said, the Zapdos would have cleaned him up on its own if not for that crit Crunch anyway. There's a flinch for Hclat, making matters worse. Here's Roar. Oh boy. Fuck you, Johnny. Another Rapid Spinner in the back. Whether that's a spinner or an off-star, it is a nightmare at this point for Johnny. You know he doesn't have a special wall after what we just talked about with Zapdos. What? It's gotta be offensive Rachi. It's gotta be Combine Sub Rachi. There's no way any remotely sturdy Rachi. There's no way that any Aster Rachi would have been played in this way. It would have come in to deal with the Zapdos for sure. So that has got to be some kind of offensive Rachi, probably the sub-combine variant that we've been seeing. But if so, again, this team is just atrociously Zapdos weak for Johnny. And that looks to be his undoing here. I mean, this game isn't close again. I want it to be, but man, it's just not. I really wish this series as a whole had been closer, but none of these games seem particularly tight. Game 1, all Johnny. Game 2, all Hclat. And Game 3, seemingly all Hclat as well. I don't get how Johnny can come back here. Rachi would have to be faster than Flygon and insta-get him with Ice Punch here. And he is not. He is outsped, he is Earthquaked, and he is dead. This one, not close. And Johnnyg2, excellent run in his first CALLOUS